HarperCollins presents The Herb Knot by Jane Loftus. Read by Matt Addis. Prologue. August 1346, Crecy. The branches folded over them, crackling like a dog biting on chicken bones. Raphael and his mother wriggled beneath low shrubs and coils of fern. Even in moonlight they would be difficult to see, but it was not the place of safety his mother would have chosen. It was his mistake that had forced them to stop here. His first mistake. "When did you last see Christophe?" His mother pulled him close. "By the big oak. I'm sorry, Maman." The big oak was where they'd entered the forest. It was where enemy soldiers roamed, blood-soaked after a day of battle. There would be looting too, and worse. It was why a woman and 2 children had left a cottage that was no longer safe. And now one of the children was missing. "He told me not to wait. He said he'd catch up." Raphael's tears could be heard in his voice. He'd ruined everything. He should never have let go of Christophe's hand. Now they had been forced to stop where Christophe might still find them. They should be further towards the heart of the forest, not here. It was all his fault. "Don't cry, mon petit. He'll know where we are." Raphael's mother, Marianne, reached for his hand. "I should have paid more heed." She'd been calling gently as they walked, to make sure the children were still following. Raphael had answered, but he'd spoken only for himself. Christophe had fallen behind long before she'd become aware of it. They were supposed to hold hands, but Christophe had kept stumbling, dragging Raphael down with him. In the end, he told Raphael to go ahead, that he'd catch up. "I should have waited." Christophe would surely find his way here. He had Raphael's precious Saint-Joseph scapular with him. Raphael wore it always, but Christophe had been afraid, so Raphael had given it to him. It would guide him here. It had to. Raphael and his mother lay for a while on their stomachs, the leaves above them gently shedding raindrops from the earlier storm. The damp earth smelled rich and strong and caught the back of Raphael's throat. His ribs began to hurt, and he tried to move, but there were footsteps now. Marianne pressed her fingers to his lips. The footsteps came faster and louder. A man entered the clearing, his outline bulky as if he were wearing armor. There was a shadow of something in his hand, something that glinted for a brief moment as a dull beam of moonlight caught the edge of it. Raphael felt his mother's hand tighten on his again. Who was this man? A mercenary? Genoese? There was more moonlight now, but it still wasn't enough to see for sure. "Anglais," Marianne whispered. When Christophe crashed into the clearing like a hunted deer, the mercenary had already begun to walk away. Had Christophe arrived but 1 minute later, his and Raphael's lives would have taken different paths. But at the sight of the child, soiled and trembling, the mercenary turned on his heel. He had his arm wrapped around Christophe's neck in an instant, pulling tight until his feet barely reached the ground. Christophe's hands pulled at the mercenary's arm, but to no avail. Raphael wanted to cry. He could feel his mother tense beside him, and he was afraid. She was ready to move. He felt a shudder under her skin. "Don't go out there. Don't go." It was over before she had a chance. The flash of a blade, the sound like a sigh as it cut across Christophe's neck, his cousin's body flung across the clearing as if it were of no more consequence than a slaughtered calf. "No." The voice did not belong to Raphael or his mother. They had been so fixated on Christophe that they hadn't noticed the arrival of another soldier. He wore no heavy armor, just a gambeson and sword. The weapon sat snug and familiar at his waist. The soldier's tone was flat, but his face was angry. He stood between the mercenary and Christophe's body where it lay.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?